All right, I started the meeting out on Teams Live.
Okay. The regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Park District of the City of Fargo will come to order. Today's Tuesday, January 12th. Number 1, appointment of Park Board, Fargo Park Clerk.
Hey guys, Jeff Gunkelman will present on this one. With me graduating from clerk to legal counsel, we had the clerk position open. And in talking with Dave and with Sarah and other people at the Park District, what we decided that we would be able to work with is having Dave serve as the clerk. I will still be taking notes down for the meetings, and so Dave can focus on his presentations that he has to do and doesn't have to worry about taking the notes or anything. So I'll take the notes, help prepare the minutes for Dave, but ultimately Dave's going to be the clerk. So Dave, I don't know if you realize this as part of this. That means you get to call roll from now on.
Oh,
Jeff,
that's good. For all the votes?
Sessions,
Yeah, I'll take all the notes for it, but you get to actually call a roll. So
Oh, I might blow that one. Hold on here.
we'll get through the first meeting.
Thanks for telling me right away at the minute before the meeting.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah.
Dave,
So Dave and I, in discussions, thought that this would be worth at least a 6-month trial run, and if it becomes burdensome or overwhelming on Dave or myself, then we can look at getting an external clerk again. So that's kind of what we thought we would give a go here for a while, and then as a result, I think the last agenda item 13 will be updating the banking resolutions, which Dave will touch on, being that he will be the clerk. So.
Okay, do we need a motion to appoint Dave as clerk and a vote?
Yes.
Or okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second from Dawn.
Okay, Vicky moved, Dawn second. Any discussion? All right, so who pulls the board on this one?
I'm guessing it would still be Jeff.
Yeah, I can do it because he hasn't been officially appointed until the time that I guess this actually passes.
Okay,
So,
Jeff, pull the board, please.
Commissioner Rosted?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson?
Aye.
And we still don't have Joe, correct? So Commissioner Griggs?
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Dave. You've got big shoes to fill.
Thank you. I'll try to do as well.
All right. Number 2, approval of minutes of previous meeting.
I approve.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Or do we?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Do we pull the board or say aye? This is
Just say
No,
aye.
no money, so
okay.
it's
All
aye.
in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. Number 3, approval of December bills. Is there a motion?
I move.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Jeff, pull the board.
Oh,
Or Dave, pull the board.
I'll
Sorry.
pull the board. Commissioner Rosted?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson?
Aye.
Commissioner Griggs?
Aye. Motion carries.
Good job, Dave.
Thanks, Brian.
Flawless.
It's going to be really hard for me to get used to that. I'm used to Jeff pulling the board. Okay. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes, Madam President.
Okay. And do we have anyone in the audience who would like to be recognized? All right, number 6, director's report.
The only thing I have on the director's report, I was talking with Director Kevin Bowe about maybe giving an update on our winter programs and how COVID has impacted them. And Kevin's, we do have a recreation committee meeting coming up in February, so I think we can just wait till that time for that full report unless any commissioners have any questions related to that.
Yeah, the plan would be to show the programs that we had to eliminate for the time being because we're not allowed into the schools, and then to show you what we've done to accommodate some of those individuals and those teams.
I appreciate the signage and the different things we've done in the facilities to make it clear when people walk in what the expectation is, and hopefully they'll follow it and our staff won't be forced to deal with anything. And I saw one of the concession stands open again last weekend, so that's nice as well. So hopefully we're moving in the right direction.
Well, and we've got good partners with Fargo Youth Hockey that we've collaborated with to come up with some protocols that they follow that we're following obviously in the building. So staff meet every week on those arenas and that. So if there's issues that do come up, we can address those. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. And the only other item I'd say is, with the warm temperatures, it's been really tough for our maintenance department to get all of our rinks up and running, but I think we're doing a very good job. I know Dave is actually going to do an interview tomorrow and kind of discuss some of the challenges. So as the weather gets colder in the next couple of weeks, all of our rinks will be functioning very well. So with that, unless any commissioners have any questions you'd like to address to myself or other directors, that's all I have.
I wanted to ask Kevin quick, or maybe Anna, I don't think she's here, but the Broadway Square ice seems to do okay in this weather. Would that be true?
Yeah, very true. Anna and I meet every week on different situations that are coming up. We have several calls during the week as well. We've had over 3,000 visitors just on the skating rink in a month and 5 days. So it's significant. We've got, rentals going. We've got Sam helped us with concessions, so appreciate that. So we're full go. We've got some adjustments to make from the construction standpoint and address, but it's nothing that's really out of the ordinary. But the ice is holding up very well. Actually, this weekend we're having Laura Jacobson and some of her staff come down and do some skating instructions. So it's kind of nice to see the collaboration between departments.
Nice. How'd the movie go?
Great. 31 people there. I think we can adjust that, maybe go out and get a sponsorship for that. And, we charged $5 for the event. So generating some revenue out of that. But I think we can go after some sponsorships on that.
Hey, I do have a question. There's obviously a Broadway Square Facebook page and a Courts Plus page, and all the other Facebook pages we have. And if you're not a friend, or if you aren't following the Broadway Square Facebook page, you don't always see all the Fargo Parks events that are happening at Broadway Square. So I don't know if we can have our Fargo Parks page follow or share the Broadway Square stuff, because I'm guessing there's a lot of people who follow the Fargo Parks page that don't necessarily know there's a Broadway Square page.
Sure. And we can talk to marketing, and maybe Carolyn, that question.
Yeah, that is generally what we do with a lot of our programs, is that the entity that is planning it puts it out on the page that's appropriate, and then we share and follow and do all of those things so that we can propagate that to all of the many folks that want to find out what's going on in the town.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, Dawn. In speaking to Anna, I was just wondering, it seemed like it was like maybe a week and a half ago when I was leaving the spirit room, I noticed that there were many uniformed skaters at Broadway Square, and there was a police car right nearby, and they appeared to me to be policemen, and they were skating in a oval shape. I was just wondering if you had heard anything about that.
That I am unfamiliar with at this point. I've not heard that. You know, we had an incident on the corner by the VFW on Saturday night, but I don't know that answer, but I can find out.
Don, are you
Yeah, it
talking
was
about police officers skating?
Absolutely. There were
Yes.
a whole bunch of them.
They had a post on their page not too terribly long ago, and I don't think there were a whole bunch of them on this post, but they strapped on some skates and went out there one day. I don't know if it was, you know, how many of them there were, but that's pretty cool. And I know that there's been some youth hockey teams that have gone out there just to skate.
Yes.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
might have been a promo for
Would have been
the police force.
I thought it would have been a great photo op, because when I was coming by there were probably at least 9 or 10 police officers skating.
Well, Don, that's when you pull out your Polaroid.
Yeah,
Yep, and that's when you
right.
share.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
Katie said that they just showed up. It was an impromptu night, so that's when you share.
Nice.
So Kevin, well, overall, the first month of Broadway Square, what's your impression, your takeaway, your analysis?
I think it's going well. You know, Anna is on site in her office now. Like I said, we need to make some adjustments as far as the construction stuff, but I would say we're at, you know, that 90 to 95%, you know, and when we talk about events or programs that'll be offered down there with rentals, you know, in a given year, she's looking at over 300, 350 different programs, rentals, events that will be down there. Now, skating, the daily skating is part of that, per the agreement. So I think it's going very well. It's encouraging, you know, just from the standpoint of the rink, but just from the standpoint of the tree, having that tree and the people that are taking pictures, whether it's a graduation or we've had a group of, I'm not even sure what kind of dogs they were. It was a whole family that had the same shirt, ugly sweater shirt on with their same dachshund dogs. It was neat. There was probably 15 or 20 of them. And we were visiting with them, and it's the same family, and they all got together. They were in Fargo. Well, they made it down to Broadway Square to take their Christmas picture. So I think it's gone very well. There's some adjustments to be made, but that's expected with the new, you know, this is new to all of us, this public-private partnership with us not owning the actual property. So I think it's going well.
Did you get in the picture?
I did not.
Oh.
He didn't have his dog.
Right.
So you brought up.
I have
Go ahead, Don.
one more question, and it's about the tree. What kind of feedback have you been getting? I've had a couple inquiries from the city about public opinion about the tree.
And Dave, you've been involved with that tree since you did order it, but I think the feedback's been great. You know, most of the pictures that are taken are people standing next to that tree. You know, I've heard comments on the street, so we've gotten very good feedback. I don't know if Katie's on the line, if she's got any stuff that through social media that's been. I mean, most of the pictures that I've seen that involve the tree in the background. So.
Okay, well, I was wondering too, is that tree going to stay there all year, or does it come down on a certain date?
Well, we had internal conversations about that, and I know that was brought up at the facility committee a couple weeks ago. So we'll actually have that conversation. I'll have that conversation with Dave. It won't stay up all year because we've got some programming that'll be done down there. Plus the length of, you know, the for the tree length of life is a concern with the amount of lights that are on there and the hours a day that it's being used.
Yeah, and
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering, do you have to use the lights to have the tree there?
No, we can turn the lights off and just have the tree there, but once we start and pull the boards out, it's going to be, you know, kind of in the way. In February, our plan is to put the frostable sculpture, snow sculpture that we typically have out in front of the depot here, down at that location. So that'll be another part of the conversation.
I noticed that on Saturday night, I think it was, that the top part of maybe the third of the tree wasn't lit.
Yep, there was a 15 amp breaker that was tripped on that tree. So our forester was made aware of it and made that, helped rectify that issue.
Thank you.
You bet.
I think leaving the tree up, you know, a little past Christmas is a great idea. I think, as you know, there's a lot of excitement about it yet. I actually think taking it down and having it be a seasonal thing kind of keeps the charm and thrill about it, because if it's up 12 months of the year, then, you know, and then next fall again, we get to say, hey, the tree's up.
Well, and hopefully we can work with the group that we purchased that tree from to add additional programming to that tree. So maybe change it up somehow. So we're still working on those. Those are the types of issues that we're dealing kind of with on a daily basis.
So we'll be able to program a picture of Kevin Bowe's face into the lights.
Nobody
Something.
wants to see that.
But we could get our logo in there.
Oh,
There you go, Stacy.
great idea.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of options for that tree, and as Kevin mentioned, I think, you know, the plan is to keep it up probably through February, and, you know, once we get around to start, whenever we take down the boards, we take that tree down. If you leave it up all summer, an extended period, you have the ultraviolet lights that, you know, work on the plastic of the tree, and then as Kevin mentioned, you know, the wear and tear on the lights. And so I like Vicky's idea about having it for a special occasion. And, you know, November, December, January, and February are probably 4 pretty good months for it. There was a question asked about the ice, and just an FYI for you commissioners and directors that, you know, the refrigeration system will get us about a month earlier in the fall, so we can get that ice installed before Thanksgiving. And then it'll basically last probably 2 weeks longer than a typical outdoor rink. You know, so we'll probably get that first week of March. But the biggest thing with ice is once that sun gets to a certain point in the sky, you know, the refrigeration can't overcome the strength of the sun's rays. So while the sun's still nice and low now, these 40-degree days are manageable, but, you know, you get a nice day in March and we're going to be struggling. So.
And skating is free, is that right?
That is correct.
But renting skates obviously has a expense.
$5 per rental.
Or 2 for $10.
And just clarifying too, we do not have child-size skates right now. I know that's a disappointment for people, and we have heard about that. But again, at this point, the purchase was made of the adult skates.
Is that $5 per skate or for the pair?
For the pair.
And it's not $250 if you only need one.
Well, there's always so much excitement down there. It's just really a fun sight to see in downtown Fargo. So I think you guys have done a nice job so far.
Thank you.
One thing I'd like to recognize our new finance director, Brock Leitz. Welcome to the Fargo Park District.
Thank you.
Welcome, Brock.
Thank you, Stacy.
All righty. Number 7, Foundation Director's Report.
Thank you, Madam President. I can make mine kind of short and sweet. Foundation Board meets on Monday, so on the 18th at 1:30. Among the items on our agenda, in addition to our kind of regular discussion of the Fargo Sports Complex, is reviewing applicants for the matching grant program. We had 5 applicants this time. So we will be going through those and making a recommendation for the next park board meeting in February. Third item, the Fargo Park District Foundation and Valley Senior Services are both taking part in Giving Hearts Day this year. So we'll both be collectively kind of launching our Giving Hearts campaigns. So watch for that. Help us promote that on Facebook and other ways and help us to be successful. Giving Hearts Day is February 11th. So about 4 weeks from now. And then finally, kind of in the good news department, and this is a VSS report. We assist seniors with Medicare Part D open enrollment. You know, that's the prescription drug arm of Medicare Part D. Every year, people have the option of changing who they buy their insurance through, how they get their prescription drugs. This year, we helped 293 people, and through those efforts, saved $53,847. So almost $200 per person was saved by helping them select a different insurance carrier or changing the insurance they had. That's all I have to report.
Oh, Brian, this is Dawn. I wanted to ask you what the average request for grant funds was.
The average is $12,490, just short of $12,500.
Okay.
Oh wait,
and
no, that's wrong.
they-
That's wrong. The average is like $9,990, just short of $10,000. Just under 50,000 collectively.
I see. And so do you have a limit then for those funds? Like say you had twice as many applicants, would you award them all some portion, or do you choose a certain number that will fit into your budget?
The limit actually is established by the Fargo Park Board, and the amount is $100,000 for the year. So essentially 50,000 per round. There's 2 rounds. And one of the things we'll be discussing at the foundation board meeting is whether we want to start limiting the number of times an applicant can come back, you know, or if they have to skip a round or skip a year or something like that. We have a number of applicants that have applied multiple times, so we're going to kind of talk our way through that policy issue.
Well, Brian, with
I
5
see, and-
applicants, it sounds like we finally have the problem of having to start deciding some things, which is really nice.
Right. Yeah, it started out kind of slow, but now there are a number of applicants, and there are, let's see, this year 2 new applicants, and then 3 that are kind of returning applicants.
So in terms of your board, are they the ones that make the decision as to the funds, the allocation of funds?
They make the decision as to whether to recommend to the park board that we award grants to any of the entities. The limit for a grant is $15,000. You know, so there's a limit that way. But yeah, the foundation board they screen the applicants and make a recommendation to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you to the VSS for helping our seniors with their prescription drug coverage, because, you know, it seems like probably not a large number of people you assisted or even a large number of funds that were saved, but to the senior that you helped, it was huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's an important program. It was limited this year a little bit by COVID. You know, we had to distance and wear masks and be really careful, and it limited the number of people that felt comfortable coming in.
Brian?
Yes.
This is Joe. Say, just a quick question. We had a grant that we awarded to Fargo Youth Baseball, right? For their, is that still going forward, or are they regrouping on that?
Fargo Youth Baseball for what?
For their new, wasn't it for the clubhouse?
Oh, yeah, they withdrew that grant and are
Right.
coming back with something this round.
Got it.
Is that-
Okay. I was just
Is that
clarifying.
Fargo
that. Thank you.
baseball or post 2?
Oh, post 2, yes, sorry.
No, post 400.
Oh, post 400, yeah. It was a new the place they were going to do because they had moved our concession stand / umpire place, and it wasn't working for them. So I just knew that it hadn't moved forward, and I thought I'd heard that it was potentially going to be withdrawn. So I just wanted to check on that.
No, they're part of the 5 applicants this time.
Got it. Well, I just wanted to make sure that that's separate from the one that was from before, and that while we approved that, it wasn't going forward anymore, obviously.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to number 8, board to consider approval of memo of understanding between the Park District and City of Fargo to allow Park District vehicles to fuel at the city's fueling station. Dave Beats, presenter.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, Commissioners. In your packets, you'll have information on a memo of understanding that we'd like to execute with the City of Fargo. This memo of understanding essentially spells out that we would be able to use the city's gas station. In the agreement, it's called the Vehicle Fuel Station. Currently, right now, the City of Fargo has one of these stations at their North Fargo location, which is in between 7th and 5th Avenue North, just to the west of our existing North Maintenance Shop. They do have plans to put another one down on 64th Avenue in the future. So this MOU would cover us to be able to use that station once that's constructed as well. But basically what this does is it would allow us to save on fuel expense by fueling our over-the-road vehicles, so our pickups, our trucks, our tractors, our large payloaders and large dump trucks at their fueling station. Currently, right now, the price that we pay for a gallon of diesel is about $2.29. For a gallon of unleaded, it's about $1.85. And those same numbers with the city right now are $1.65 and $1.46 respectively. So you can see the savings there. On a gallon of diesel, as it stands right now, we would be saving 64 cents a gallon. In a gallon of unleaded gasoline, we would be saving 39 cents a gallon. Staff has been working on this for quite a while. We feel it's a good savings for us and a good benefit. Currently, we use about 20,000 gallons of product of each diesel and unleaded per year. And we estimate we'd be able to put about a third of that usage over to the city's fueling station. So, conservatively, we're estimating that we would save between $7,000 and $9,000 annually. Once the south station is up and running and we can participate in that, then our usage would go up. It was discussed at the facilities committee meeting to bring this ahead to the full board for consideration of approval. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
This is Dawn. I don't have any questions. I think it's a win for the Park District. I don't see that there would be any opposition.
As Barb Johnson once said, what bad can come of this?
I think
Exactly.
it's a good partnership. Shows a strong relationship for the Park District with the City of Fargo. So I think it's a great idea.
Yep, the more we can do of this, the better, especially for, things that are like fuel or, paper towels, stuff that's just services that we buy that or goods that we buy that are just, part of the operating. That I just think that's all good stuff.
Dave, how soon are we implementing this?
Vicki, our goal is to have this going by February 1st. We're still doing some of the logistics, and getting ready. If we did get approval tonight, that's kind of the last jumping off point, if you will, for us to get some of the information over to the city, and it's just a matter of ramping up their service to accept ours. And there's a few little logistical things as far as making fobs for our vehicles and just some minor stuff but it will take a couple of weeks for us to get ramped up.
So Dave, will our vehicles either fuel at their place or our place, or will they be interchangeable?
They'll still be interchangeable, and that's a great question. We still are going to advise our staff to do what's smart. Certainly just because the savings is here, if staff is working on the north side of town, let's say at Edgewood, where our forestry crew has been working for the first part of the winter here, it wouldn't make any sense for them to drive down to the city shop to get fuel when we still have some fuel right at Edgewood. So we'll be able to have the opportunity to do both, and we'll try as much as we can when it makes sense to use the city station, and but definitely want to do that analysis to make sure that we're not driving several miles out of our way just to save a few cents when it might not even be more than a 20-gallon fill up. If we're wasting near an hour to do that, or 20 minutes one way, it just wouldn't make any sense.
Does that the fact that you may have one vehicle fueling out of two different systems, does that create more work for just managing, making sure you can monitor how much fuel a vehicle's using or something's using? Or maybe we don't pay that close of attention, but I would think accounting wise that would be a little extra administrative work.
We do keep track of it, but it won't hamper us at all. They are using the same software that we use. They have a version or two up from what we're currently running. It's called Fuel Master. So that's what the nice part of it is. So when our folks fuel at our sites, they'll still use the same process we've established, and we'll be able to pull those reports. When they go to the city site, they'll use a different fob, but it'll be much, almost the same reporting that we'll be able to utilize.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll move to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? All right, Dave, poll the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
and Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, don't go anywhere, Dave. You're up again.
All right, thank you, Madam President. This one, Commissioners, is another MOU with the City of Fargo. This one's in a little different vein. This one is in relation to a borrow pit park, what we call is now Bison Meadow. Some of us remember it as borrow pit. What the city has done is there's a large retention area on the south side of 64th Avenue South and just west of University Drive South. And they've used that retention area basically to take the place of what was the borrow pit in the 2009 flood and other floods actually. But what's happened there is something pretty cool. There's been a nice trail segment that's been put through there. We have partnered with Audubon Dakota along with the City of Fargo to do native grass plantings in there. We've got a lot of nice trees that were planted in there underneath the city's project, as well as some turf. So basically what this MOU is basically the city would still own this property, but they would be allowing us to use the trail system and maintain the trails. That's what the agreement spells out, is our share of this is maintaining the trails, which we've done, part of this already in the past, but now that it is complete build out, we would have the maintenance of the trails, the trees, and the grass. The water itself in the ponds still remains a City of Fargo responsibility. And so if there's ever any issues with the bank slumping or things like that, or work with the functionality of the ponds itself, that responsibility still lies with the City of Fargo. Everything else essentially would come to us, and it's not dissimilar to some of the other things we've done with the City of Fargo. We feel this is a good benefit for us. There is a lot of this area that is in native planting, so it's not going to increase our mowing efforts by hardly at all. There is some maintenance that will go into the natural grass stands that are around this. But there again, we're underneath a partnership with Audubon Dakota, and they've got a maintenance agreement for this area. So that's kind of what this MOU is describing. This too was brought up at the December's facility meeting and was recommended to bring to the full board for consideration. I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you may have.
Well, it sounds like you covered everything. Do we have a motion to approve?
Well, in the interest of keeping the meeting forward, I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Dave, pull the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
and Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. And third time's a charm.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Commissioners, this is my last one tonight, I promise. This one is approval of the proposal for 4 pickleball courts at Valley View Park. Pickleball has just exploded in our community. I've had, personal conversations with many of you about trying to find more courts and more facilities for our public. We've received a lot of calls. About a year ago, staff started meeting with Mr. Brunsdale that donated money for the Brunsdale pickleball courts, currently our only pickleball complex. And he started to ask some questions, is there an area to the south and west of where the current courts are? And he had an interest in building, additional courts. So, through those conversations, we settled on Valley View Park, which is just on the north side of 40th Avenue, right on the north side of Independence Elementary School. And you can see on the screen, this is what we're proposing. It would be a 4-court complex. The Brunsdales, Tom and Mary Brunsdale, have agreed to pay up to $144,000 of this construction cost. Our engineer's estimate is just over $150,000. So this is a great opportunity, I think, to meet an unmet need. Let's try and say that 4 times fast. In our community, and do so in a way where we're able to accept a nice gift from citizens of our community and put forth a great amenity to the public. So that's basically what this agreement is. It's almost an exact replica of the agreement we did in the past with the Brunsdales. So we just asked for your consideration. This too was talked about at the facility meeting and recommended to bring ahead to the board for their consideration. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think it's great that we can work out agreements and find ways to have our community continue to be built with things that people are using. And I think this is going to be great. Hopefully somebody else steps up for the next one.
It is exciting to have 4 more courts. There's I think I saw some social media on pickleball today, even about how, access in our community and how exciting it is to have coming to, covers a lot of different levels of activity. So it's a great thing to be growing in. Thank you.
And we also do have courts planned in North Fargo. Just for disclosure, we've had a few calls over the course of the last several weeks of citizens since the facility meeting, and citizens on the north side have seen this information. They know that we were going to be talking about it, and so I will be coming, back towards you. I believe it's either at the February or March meeting to ask for approval to build some courts at Longfellow. So we're gonna, get some courts on the north side, assuming those construction costs come in where we think they should be, and you folks, agree to having us do that as well.
And Dave, just like to add, I mean, the public-private partnership here with the Brunsdales have allow us to extend, our funding abilities to not only build 4 courts, but now probably build 8 courts and just put that many more facilities in the Fargo area. So really want to, say thank you to the Brunsdales and all the good work that Dave's done with kind of courting them. So.
Agreed. Do we have a
Ditto,
motion?
Dave. I move that we approve the proposal for 4 pickleball courts at Valley View Park.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Dave, pull the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
and Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Commissioners.
Okay, next up, board to discuss Fargo Sports Complex project. Dave Leaker, presenter. Oh, I skipped one.
Yep,
Number 11. Sorry, Kevin.
that's all right.
Board to consider approval of update to Schedule A of alcohol beverage policy.
Thank you,
Kevin
Madam President. Good evening, Commissioners. In your packet is the overall policy for the Park District with the alcohol beverage policy. I also have online Stephanie D'Ambrosio from the event staff, Dave Clunt, also from the events team and the program team. They can answer any questions specific to the program that we're going to be talking about. But just so you understand, last year we had the pond hockey event that was moved from Edgewood down to Lindenwood. It was very well received, great turnout. One of the things that we discussed as far as changing going into this year really was the concessions and alcohol process. Last year, we had side streets as the vendor for the concessions and the alcohol that was sold at that location. Stephanie had an idea about selling the alcohol permits as we do to the adult teams at the softball complex for leagues and or tournaments. We also do this at their shelters around town. So I know staff met with Officer Marvig, the attorney Jeff Gunkelman, and talked about it, and they were okay with the change in the process. So really we're looking at updating the alcohol beverage Schedule A to add the events where the tent is set up in Lindenwood Park. So that's the only change to this policy. This was discussed at the Facilities Committee in December and recommendation to bring before the full board for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Did I lose everybody?
You're
No
on.
question. Sorry,
Kevin.
no questions?
Kevin, when we host events like this, do we utilize our park officer, our police officer, or do we hire outside security because we're having alcohol? Does that change things for us? How does that get managed?
No, it really doesn't change anything, Commissioner Dawson. Obviously, Officer Marvig's aware of it. About the time for the pond hockey event, he's expecting his child. So he's also informed the police, his officers, of what's going on down at Lindenwood Park. So they'll obviously have people that will be in the park at various times throughout the event. Stephanie, do you want to talk about how you're handling selling those beer permits?
Yeah, so we'll have the teams be able to buy them either beforehand or on site, but once they get on site, we'll be checking IDs and wristbanding them to make sure that we know who can drink versus who cannot drink in the tent. That way we're able to control it. You know, we've had alcohol at this event since it's been an event. And yeah, the police officer stopping by is usually just, it's worked really well. So I think adding the wristbands will be a great addition to be able to tell who can drink versus who can't drink.
And Kevin, this is similar to how we handle Fargo's or slow pitch and fast pitch softball, correct?
Exactly. I was just going to say that. So any tournaments or leagues that we have, they buy our beer permits through our offices here. So I know Officer Marvig had success of when he went up there on several occasions during the summer to check and make sure people had bought their permits, that if he carded anybody. So there was a lot of success in that, and that change.
And Kevin, when you say beer permit, is it limited to beer and wine coolers and seltzers, or is liquor allowed?
You know, that's a very good question. It just says alcoholic beverages.
No, according to the policy that the board approved, there is no hard alcohol allowed.
Which is the same it's been in the past. We've only ever had beer, seltzers, those things at Pond Hockey. We've never had sold liquor.
And that's, Carolyn, that's the same for softball or any of our other
Correct.
places? Okay, so any of the alcohol on any of our premises would be beer, wine coolers, that kind of thing?
Right, the exception is the golf courses. There they have a full liquor permit.
And the curling club too, right? Or is that not technically considered ours?
There is a schedule that talks about the limited alcoholic beverages, and that lists the specifics. And then if we go in the policy itself, it will define it as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the update to Schedule A of the alcoholic beverage policy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
And it's an alcohol policy, not an alcoholic policy. Sorry.
I know, I saw that.
Whew, after I said it. Ooh.
Any more discussion? Dave, poll the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
and Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, number 12, board to discuss Fargo Sports Complex project. Dave Leaker, presenter.
Thank you, Madam President. Commissioners, just to give a kind of a brief background for some of our newer commissioners, we've been discussing the sports complex since we completed our comprehensive study back in 2016, which identified some needs we had in the Park District. And I believe Craig Beer had sent that executive summary out to the commissioners a little bit prior to the meeting. So basically what we want to do is bring it before the commissioners again. We've kind of been on a extended pause due to COVID for the last basically 12 months. And we've kind of put a halt on some of our design and fundraising, but we're starting to see things picking up, and we want to get moving forward on this. We've already delayed it a year, so we wanted to bring it before the board and have a good discussion on this and talk about the benefits to, you know, Fargo and the surrounding community. We just finished up a one-page information sheet. I don't know if Carolyn can bring that up. We didn't have a chance to get it out in the board packet, but it is available now. We identified several community benefits, amenities, and key statistics. And I'll quickly, briefly go through the community benefits that we have identified. And as I mentioned before, the comprehensive study that we did back in 2016 identified, you know, several needs. And those, the three main needs were indoor ice, indoor turf, indoor hard surfaces, and then a walking track. So those are some of the needs, and we'll discuss those later. Community wellness, it provides more community space for more active and healthier Fargo. As we know with COVID, trying to get out in the wintertime is tough. In the summertime, it's very easy, but this is going to provide a very large indoor space where kids are able to get out and be active. Multi-purpose, forward-thinking design to accommodate recreation and community activities, classes, and events while serving all ages and interests and backgrounds. So it's going to be a very multi-purpose facility. Accessibility, this is where I mentioned that just provides year-round access for Fargo residents and surrounding visitors to be able to get out and activate, indoors. And while we've had a nice winter, I think that's going to come to the end here very shortly. Another community benefit is memorable destination. There'll be a state-of-the-art community facility and a regional destination unlike any other in this area. It's going to be an economic generator. Oh, that's on the next one. So just jump right into that one. Be an economic driver for the community. As people are familiar with, down in the cities, they have facilities like this and in Sioux Falls, and I think this is going to be a very inviting economic driver for the community and allowing teams to come in and participate in tournaments, but also allow just indoor space for kids from around our community. There'll be times when the space will be activated for blow-up games, art classes, sports samplers. So it's going to be available to the entire community and entire kids from all ages. Talking about the scope of the project up on the amenities, it'll be a full-size indoor soccer field. And just a kind of an explanation on that, that's about 25% larger than a football field. It's just wider typically. It'll be 4 to 6 full-size basketball, volleyball courts or hard surface courts that can be used for many activities, pickleball. 1 indoor ice sheet, NHL size ice sheet. Indoor walking track, which would be in the turf area. This would be an elevated walking track, quarter mile in distance. So, instead of just going in tight circles, you'll be able to get out and work off some of those holiday calories. It'll also be host to community room and possible additional community rooms depending on how everything comes in. Sanford Power is one of our big partners. They would relocate their power center from over by the Shields Arena to this site. And then future home of the Fargo Park District offices. I think as all the directors know and the commissioners are coming to see, we're kind of busting at the seams here at the depot. We do have staff in other locations. So this would allow us to kind of bring everybody into one central location and be right around all the activity that's going to be associated with this new facility. If you could slide up maybe a little bit, Carolyn, there, the key statistics. And these are some of the numbers we've got from our analysis. 13,000 local kids in a year could use this facility. 600 plus visitors to the facility coming in from outside of town. 45 annual events and sporting tournaments. 20 plus local sports organizations will utilize this facility. And as I mentioned that before, I mean, these are local sports groups, whether it's lacrosse, football, baseball, but it's also going to be available to kids. And we're going to have open times for everybody to be able to utilize this facility. And then $5 million into direct spending, and that's through the CVB did that for us. So those are some of the kind of key statistics. As I mentioned before, the scope of the project included on that top piece. Just want to discuss the timeline and funding. If you want to scroll maybe down a little bit more, there you go, thank you. So project timeline, with kicking things off tonight, this will get us back on track to start some of the design process, which is about a 3 to 4 month process, take us into the summer. And then once we get the design document phase, we'd work on the construction document phase. Hopefully all of our funding and everything falls into place. We are reaching out to the community, and if this is a public-private partnership and everything falls into place, we would look to bid the project this December, January, and hopefully start construction in the spring of 2022. And this is This is scheduled to be about a 22-month build, so it's almost a year. So we'd look at a possible opening in the winter of 2023-24. So now the big question is, what does this facility cost to build? Our projected estimate is about $77 million, and this project would not exceed that amount. And through our fundraising efforts and funds we've identified at the Park District, total contributions to date are about $41 million. So I can't see that. The bottom line is the overall goal, since it's originally started out as a public-private partnership or private-public partnership, is our goal with the foundation and with the Park District is to be 60% private and 40% public. And that's what we're striving for. We've got some great partners that we've identified, and we're still looking for more. So that's kind of what we're shooting for, is a 60-40 public-private partnership. And as with the Brunsdale pickleball courts, all those private donations just help us extend our funding availability and create these great projects. So that's kind of a brief synopsis of kind of that one-page stat sheet, and I'll open it up for any discussion or questions.
Well, this is a really exciting project, and it's a very large project. And it, we're in kind of an interesting time in history with COVID shutting us down for a matter of time on moving forward with this. But some things that I like about this project are that this facility fits the mission of the Park District. And the needs study that we did shows that our population and the people we serve are in need of this. We have user groups that are looking for the spaces that we're hoping to provide for them. We think they'll be well received. The other thing is, it's not just sports. I like the community aspect of it, having a walking track that'll be open to the public so that we can have a healthy community. One thing that's really important to me is that this is a sustainable project, and that we don't bite off more than we can handle, but that we can provide an opportunity that creates a destination for people to come to Fargo, to contribute to our community, but also that we can manage it and that it's an asset to our Park District overall. So that those are things that are really important to me. So I'll open it up to the rest of the commissioners.
Well, I've made comments before to the likeness, and I just got to say, in research we do things called pilot studies that before we ever embark on a huge study, because embarking on a huge study only to find out that it wasn't a good idea is a bad decision. So we do pilot studies, which are smaller versions of it. To me, the Rusted in West Fargo is a pilot study. If you want to find out what it does for the community, what it does for the community, and what's shot in the arm for everybody in the community, it is you spend 15 minutes standing in the lobby at the Rusted at 6 o'clock at night. The staff in their offices are coming and going. I would dare to guess, if their offices were still located over on 13th Avenue, that they might have one person come through there a day that didn't work there. But instead, there's constant interaction amongst their staff with the user groups. They've got the playground piece. They've got the court space. They've got all the pieces that we have, just on a much smaller scale. I know it's easy to say we need to figure out a way to get this done, but it's proven that it's important and viable for our community, not to mention the economic engine that it creates. I mean, I take my son down to Sioux Falls once a month to their facility for basketball tournaments, and you stay in that facility and play all your games because there's enough courts in there to do so. I understand it's simple. It's too easy for me to just say we need to get it done, but we need to get it done.
Yeah, and I'd just like to build on what Joe said, that you know, this community is just going to eat this facility up. And you look across the state, you know, Williston, they built a new indoor facility. Dickinson has an indoor facility. Mandan has one. Valley City on a scale, it's smaller on scale, but they built themselves a nice indoor facility of various park and rec kinds of activities. So Grand Forks invested in their community. So in some ways, we need to catch up and get ahead. So this is something for everyone. It's going to be just a magnet for for generations of students, of young people and adults that need a place to work out, play, have fun, recreate on an indoor kind of environment. So I'm all in favor of this.
Yeah,
This is Dawn.
Go ahead, Don.
Oh, okay. I'm not opposed to proceeding with the plan. I just did want to mention that when I talked to Dave Leaker, he said the study that had been done was only included sports-related people. It wasn't the entire community. And so that's one of the things that, you know, if it's an inner circle kind of thing, that's a little bit different than a community-wide study. Not to say we need to go backward at this time because we're setting nothing in stone, but I just wanted to mention that hopefully it's not insular vision that we're proceeding with.
Don, I'll follow up with that really quick. I totally understand that point of view, and I never even thought about it that way, but I can tell you that the reason they chose the user groups they did when they surveyed was because we also needed a feasibility study to find out if they were going to be renting the facilities enough, and the need was there because we had to establish that the rentals would coincide with the amount of time and or need in the community. So that's where I think that grouping was chosen from, as opposed to picking the people that would want it per se.
And to latch on to that, you know, obviously it's called a sports complex. It's got some very obvious sports things to it, but I appreciate the fact that part of the usage of this building will be for health and wellness, whether it's a sports sampler for kids who want to try out some different things, or the fact that it's got the walking track so that people who don't want to have to find a place to walk outside or get a gym membership and they just want to walk at their own leisure or their own pace are going to be able to do that. The fact that it's got a community room, and really any of the, most of these surfaces could be used for things other than just sports themselves. But I appreciate that it has pretty much something for everyone. And I think that's important, that we're realizing that our community is growing and we have the need for so many different pieces that will go into this one complex. And beyond what we see on this list, all the outside amenities that are going to be part of this as well.
Yeah, and just to build on what Vicki said, this is going to be a big enough complex where we probably haven't even figured out the different ways we can program the facility to meet the needs of a growing community.
Yeah, and I guess I'd just like to add one little thing. I'd just like to thank all of our staff at the Park District and our partners out there that help, compile all this information. And we were working right up until the board meeting tonight to get, everything, our I's dotted and our T's crossed. So like I said, I want to thank everybody from, marketing to recreation to parks and finance, and appreciate everybody's help and the commissioners.
Thank you, Dave, for leading this process along. It has been in discussion for a number of years, and it's kind of exciting to get to this point where, we feel we're confident in the process to move forward for some design and continue to work on raising funds to hopefully achieve our 60-40 split on financing this project of private and public funding. So with that, do we have a motion to allow the staff to move forward with this project at this time?
Yes, I move to allow the staff to continue to move forward with this project.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, Dave, pull the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, lucky number 13, board to consider for approval the update of banking resolutions. Dave Leaker, presenter.
Okay, commissioners, this is, kind of some more housekeeping, and with the addition of our new finance director, we appreciate Carolyn's interim role as our treasurer of the Fargo Park District. As I was appointed clerk earlier, now we need to appoint a new treasurer, and since we do have a finance director now, we can make that appointment of Brock Leitz. And as I said before, Carolyn has set in as treasurer more times than a lot of people, so she's been treasurer twice. But I guess, Jeff, do we need a motion to appoint Brock or appoint Brock treasurer?
We just need a motion to approve the updates to the banking resolutions.
And that'll take care of it?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank
So
you, Carolyn.
May as well just do two, I guess. May
No
as well.
problem.
Won't hurt.
Okay, so maybe we'll just have a motion to appoint Brock as treasurer, and we'll look for that first.
I move that we approve Brock as the treasurer.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Brock Leitz as treasurer of the Fargo Park District. Any discussion? Dave, pull the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. And then as some housekeeping, we have some banking resolutions, and I'm guessing the treasurer is a part of that, so maybe I overstepped my bounds there, but I guess we would need a motion to approve updating the banking resolutions as approved as well.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the banking resolution as presented?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, Dave, pull the board.
Commissioner Rosted,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Dawson,
Aye.
Commissioner Deutsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Griggs.
Aye, motion carries.
Carolyn, I hope you don't get a third shot at this.
Me too.
That's really a message to you, Brock.
But thank you for stepping in when necessary.
Absolutely.
Yes,
You did a fine job.
Happy to help.
And she was actually the treasurer that accepted the 2 checks this morning, so she can hang those on the wall.
Very good.
Well, don't hang them on the wall, put them in the bank.
Yeah.
A photocopy.
Pinch hitters and utility infielders are the most important players on the team.
That's right.
If you ask a pinch hitter and a utility infielder.
Okay, is there any further business to come before the board tonight? Do we have a motion to
Move to adjourn.
adjourn? Thank you.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, thanks everybody for all the hard work. We had a big schedule tonight.